Hello and welcome to another week of Talk of the Town. It is my pleasure to welcome in the Port Adelaide Premiership champion of the most recent Port Adelaide Premiership Championship winning team. But will they be that in a fortnight's time? Hello, Warren Tredrea.
Well, good afternoon. 16 years almost a couple of weeks ago. It's a great number, 16. You should try wear it sometime. And let's just say the planets are aligning.
There was no number left for me that was under 35 when I was a player. Gives you an idea of my ability. Sam McClure, the chief football reporter for the Nine Network. How are you?
Hello, Seb. I'm just looking forward to Port Adelaide winning into a grand final, not just for what it means for the footy club, but what it means for our man Warren, because his wallet's going to get a lot heavier in grand final week if he can go from cashy to cashy, from function to function, talking up about the fact that I was the man that led us to our last one.
Correct.
Yeah, it's not the year to have a cashy year, though, is it? COVID. There wouldn't be too many purse strings left. Not smart. I think I'd better off they fail and then come back next year so I get another year to bask in the glory.
But given how big you are in the great state of South Australia, Treaders, surely there's some virtual cashies happening.
Yeah, but I'm heading up to the Gabba. So Queenslanders don't even know this sport. So, yeah, I'm going to struggle.
A very warm hello to our friends at the Australian Taxation Office too, as we talked about cashies. So, Sam, where do we start with this weekend, particularly from our friends from Sleepy Hollow, the Cats? Ablett's last game, if they lose. Danger. He wants a flag badly. And Joel Selwood, what a warrior he's been. What excites you?
Yeah, there's so many storylines. I actually spoke to Joel Selwood yesterday, who, can you believe, he's playing in preliminary final number 10. Number 10. His first 3 years, he played in preliminary finals, and they were all winning ones, going on to grand final. So it's an unbelievable record that this group has. And yeah, I mean, can Gary Ablett go out with a flag? What a fairy tale and a storyline that would be. But Tread is really, not just with Geelong. If you look at the 4 different clubs from where they've been, there is a story to tell with all of them. Brisbane potentially playing at home. Chris Fagan won 10 games in his first 44 as coach. He's only lost 9 since then. The turnaround with that footy club has been unbelievable. Port Adelaide to do what they've done, for them to come out at the start of the year in their 150th year, and for Ken Hinkley to declare, hey, we're here, we want to win it. They've been top of the ladder since then. And for Richmond, this is potentially cementing in everyone's mind the fact that they will have a legacy of 3 flags in 4 years to put themselves up there with the likes of Geelong, of Brisbane, of Hawthorn. I reckon for me, I love grand final week, but preliminary final week for stories to tell is almost my favourite week of the year.
Yeah, and the hardest thing too is, okay, who right now is going to win? I think they're 51-49 games. When I say that, the home teams, Port Adelaide and Brisbane, I think a 51% chance of winning. The other's 49. You won't get a better setup than that. It's the first time in quite some time, I think 3 or 4 years or whatever it is, that the top 4 after the minor round has finished top 4 leading into the major round, the finals. We are, as we know, going to uncharted territory. We're going to play a grand final at the Gabba. There's a home game next Friday night for Port Adelaide to take on Richmond, the reigning premier, to get their opportunity the first time. And you go back 12 months ago, Port Adelaide were disappointing. Fans were calling for Ken Hinkley's head. As you say, he comes out, talks tough, and he's actually delivered to say we want to play in a grand final. They adapted to hubs. We've had so many different things happen, and we head in with not really a clear favourite in either game, apart from the fact that maybe whatever sways the ledger is the fact that Port Adelaide and Brisbane are playing at home.
Hey, Treaders, what is the feeling over in South Australia, given how Port Adelaide have gone this season and have been top for the entire year? Is the feeling in the town that they should be winning and making a grand final, or that this has been the best season that they could have imagined, and if they win it's a bonus, but if they bow out to Richmond, well then that's okay?
Well, I think it's probably not even thinking the result. I think it's just the nerves of this Friday night, because really the unknown, and sport fans aren't stupid, footy fans aren't stupid. They know they're coming up against Richmond. They played them 2 weeks ago. You'd go, hey, they're going to roll out like that. That's their last match. You'd think, oh, we're confident we can beat them on our home deck after doing it by 21 points earlier in the year. But the difference is that day they didn't have Prestia. They didn't have Edwards. Cochin didn't travel. There were a number of, I'm not sure Nankervis played. Rance was out of the team at the end of last year. So the team that beat them the last time, it's significantly changed, and there were some star players, albeit mostly all Australians, not in the team. So Port fans are nervous, but there's a nervous anticipation for a build-up for a game. I think we can get 27 or 28,000 into Adelaide Oval, which has gone up slightly by a few thousand. So tickets are sold out a couple of days ago, and realistically, every Port fan or every South Australian footy fan who wants to see a game is going, I can't wait in anticipation. And they're hoping, like all footy fans, you believe, but you hope your team can get through. There's no other thought that this is going to be the end of their season. They're hopeful that it goes another week.
Hey, Tred, there's a lot of murmurings about the Richmond captain, Trent Cotchin. People questioning his tackling technique. He was very happy to go on with a few incidents after the umpire had blown his whistle across the weekend. How do you see Trent Cotchin? Is it fair to say he's a player that's had consistently dirty moments throughout his career?
Well, I'm not sure it's dirty moments. He attacks the footy with vigour, and you can get it wrong. And I was always taught, and this might not be nice in today's modern world, you tackle to hurt. That doesn't mean you tackle to break someone's neck, but you tackle to hurt. You tackle with the intent that it's ferocious, that AFL football is. We often forget nowadays, AFL footy is full contact sport, and it's fair game. If you're over the rules, you should be penalised for the rules, and if you tip too far over, you should be suspended. I think both he and Tom Lynch are teetering on the edge. If I was playing with them, I'd love that, but I'd also be nervous. I was Damien Hardwick to say if they get it wrong slightly, they're firmly up in lights, because as we know, if the broadcasters catch you doing anything a little dodgy, it's going to be highlighted, and they are one small moment away from winning a premiership, but also one small moment away from having two of their best players not play next week. And that's what good teams do.
I wouldn't want to be one of the critics of Richmond, though, Seven Treaders, because, for all the people talking about what Lynch did and what Cotchin did, this team has won 2 of the last 3 flags for a reason. And that's because when the ball's there to be won, they go harder than anyone. So if it means that a couple of them slip up off the ball, I reckon you take that as a Richmond fan.
Oh, absolutely you would. And that's what's playing on the edge. Playing on the edge, best teams. You cannot name me a premiership team that didn't play on the edge the last 20 years, 30 years, 50 years, 100 years. Everyone does it. And that's what separates the best from the rest.
I'm inclined to agree. Let's talk about season 2021 and beyond. We've seen Jeremy Cameron in orange every year, Sam. Is it possible we'll see him in a different strip in the near future?
Yeah, I think it's becoming increasingly possible. Whether that word is likely or not, I'm not sure. He's definitely considering a move to Geelong. I think we can put that on the table. Let's have a listen now to Brian Cook, who, clubs don't often make admissions about hunting players. Brian Cook and the Cats did.
We're trying to be a destination club, if I can be serious for a moment. And we're actually getting a lot of managers knock on our doors. And of course, we have discussions with those particular managers and players. But, we're in the market in big time at the moment for Jeremy Cameron. And, he's struggling with making a decision. He's a loyal bloke. And, you know the rules when you've been around for a long time. Do you finish your career in one place, or do you get tempted to go elsewhere? So I think that's a good character trait that's being shown and demonstrated by him at the moment. So no, we've been we're trying big time for that one. And outside of that, there's a few others we're talking to, but we'll just wait and see.
Now, Cookie's one of the best operators. I feel like saying get stuffed, Sam. You're telling me we could see Jeremy Cameron and Tom Hawkins in the same forward 50?
And Patrick Dangerfield, if they want to rest him down there. Yeah, it seems a bit scary, doesn't it? And it looks like to me, I would have money on them landing Brad Crouch and Sean Higgins. Now, this is what happens when you're a footy club that doesn't overpay players, is that you could fit in a few more. Patrick Dangerfield would have gone to another club and been earning well over $1 million. He's earning a fair bit under $1 million. He's playing with a successful team, plays in grand finals and preliminary finals. Well, he hasn't made a grand final with Geelong yet, but they've always been towards the top end of the ladder. Where's Jeremy Cameron going to play next year? That's the big question. I still think it's a bit like Treaders in the 51-49. I still think he'll stay at GWS. But when he's earning north of $1.4 million in a COVID year, and more than a third of that is being taken away from him, he's been hit the hardest when you come down and talk about the percentage of pure dollars. He's probably felt that he's stayed for less money over the course of the years, and he deserves a payday. He's not going to get the money that Stephen Coniglio's getting. He's not going to get the money that Josh Kelly's getting. Does he deserve it? Well, Treaders, as you know, key forwards that kick lots of goals, they're hard to find.
Yeah, absolutely. But also, too, Mark, you put yourself in this situation, boys. You're out of contract. You haven't signed with the club who has offered you a 5-year deal with pretty good money, not the money you're on now. And let's face it, the money, the 1.5, is backloaded. So I would suspect that he's not probably losing a third of it. The AFL has said if Martin from Jack Martin from Carlton is front-loaded. He won't lose that percentage. It'll be evened out over the course of the deal. It's probably that case. But at the end of the day, why hasn't he re-signed right now with GWS? Is he waiting to the end? Or is his head being turned? And if I don't know the guy, I don't know what the offers are, but I seriously have concerns as a player. If you haven't put pen to paper by now, then I suspect you're more likely to go. Yeah, and you touch on the others. Sean Higgins will end up at Geelong. Put those two classy players into that lineup. Wow. But the Brad Crouch one was interesting because on 9 News in the last 24 hours, we revealed that Port Adelaide is not interested in acquiring him. I can tell you what's happened. His manager approached Port Adelaide and said he wants to stay in Adelaide, which is well known because his partner is Adelaide, entrenched in Adelaide, and doesn't necessarily want to move. But what's happened is Port Adelaide said, well, we'd look at potentially something, but it'd only be a 3-year deal because there's knocks on his body and he'd have to fit into the wage structure. Port never heard back. So let's just say that there are other clubs. But I did hear a whisper with someone linked with Geelong suggest that the interest for Brad Crouch has waned from the Cats because of, obviously, the availability of potentially Cameron and also Higgins, and then also the drug issue that's recently been settled too. So he may end up there, but I dare say it's probably more unlikely than likely from what I heard.
Very interesting. All right, well, it's time for the people segment. Seb's speedy segment, or as it's known around Australia, Triple S.
Hang on, I'm putting my foot down here. You can't call it the people segment. It's your segment. You're going to paint yourself as this blue-collar man of the people. It's not the people segment. Don't start.
Sam, when you go on the road for a current affair, the people's program, you're allowed to call your segment on Talk of the Town the people's segment.
Quickly, before you just keep going, can you just turn around, Mr. Costello, and show me how many people are watching your people's segment? You're on your Pat Malone, mate, so it's your segment.
Doesn't seem to be too many, do there?
Look at those shorts. Oh, my gosh. He's doing leg day, that's it. You've been doing leg day.
Have you stopped doing upper body day and then only just doing deadlifts and squats? What's happening?
He's doing calf day.
That's unbelievable.
Leg day, gentlemen. But leg day for me is about 3 bags of chips and a punnet of ice cream. That's how I get the weight down there below the waist. Anyway, put the clock on. Let's start. Sam, will Essendon get anything from Carlton for Adam Sard?
No, don't start me on this, Seb.
Come on.
You as an Essendon supporter. No, when they're asking for Charlie Curnow or Harry Mackay or Tom DeConnick, I mean, please. Look, let's just be honest. He's probably worth about pick 15. Carlton have got pick 7. They should pay some overs because he's the one that wants to go there. It's incumbent on them to get the deal done. Carlton, just cough up pick 7. Let's get on with it.
I look forward to that. Treaders, we talked about it before, but could a forward line with Hawkins and Cameron work?
Oh, yes. Don't worry about that. Leave the big fella Hawkins in the square, and Jeremy plays best when he's on the move up forward.
It sounds like goals, goals, goals. Sam, a 2-year deal for Darcy Moore. Do you reckon that more or less says we'll see him in black and white for the rest of his career?
No, I don't think that. I think that he'll be Collingwood colours for the next 2 years, and then they'll see what happens. He's a beautiful footballer, is Darcy Moore, and I think probably more important to Collingwood than Jordan DeGoey. Just a personal opinion, he's great news for guys.
Treaders, is Jordan DeGoey dreaming by trying to get close to $1 million a year at the moment?
Yep, he's not performing. You know, he has moments of Dustin Martin, but Dustin Martin does it week in, week out. That's the difference. And don't worry, I love the way Jordan DeGoey plays, but when you've got some issues off the field bubbling away, when you aren't consistently playing well enough to the level we all know he is talented to, then you can't really put your hand out for more. I know he's on massive money. What did he stay? North Melbourne offered him bucket load last time. He might be on the 750 to 800 bracket. Well, for me, that's the ceiling because he got paid on potential and he's still not really earning that every week. You know, that's Scott Pendlebury money. That's Travis Boak money. That's Robbie Gray money. That's Patrick Dangerfield probably money. He doesn't play anywhere near as consistently as them. So I think Collingwood's the place for him to play. And I dare say what his father's helping him manage him. I think they'll work through that process. He's not going to go anywhere. And what Collingwood do is do some creative accounting. They'll bring forward payments. They might have a player slip out of the system as we saw at the Bombers all those years ago when, you know, Carousella moved on and Blumfield moved on. And, you know, you have to make those decisions. And they'll make decisions to keep those prime people around and someone on the outside will slip out.
Very strong instalment of the People segment. Thank you for that, Trent. So I was going to ask Sam, as we move on, Shepherd headlining the AFL entertainment on Grand Final Day. What's your favourite Shepherd song?
Are they the ones that sing Geronimo?
Hey, very nice. Very nice. They certainly
I feel... No, I'm going to get smashed for saying this. I don't care about the Grand Final entertainment at all. Like, it's just... I don't go to the big day out to watch the footy, so I just want the grand final to be about the footy.
Interesting.
But the difference is there's no footy at the big day out.
That's what I'm saying. That's
but there is a concert at the AFL.
Not sure why.
So you're comparing peas and carrots, not the same thing.
One
has two events, football and entertainment. One just has entertainment. Sorry. Seb,
also,
am I just not picking up on something here, or has someone just gone on their own tangent?
Well admitted. Just the one thing I will say is that when you have a global headline act like the Killers coming out, like they did in 2017, then I'm up for it. Then I'm up for it. But anyone else, it's just like, whatever.
I must admit, I got a little bit aggressive then, and I apologise. But I did actually have to Google who these people were, and people in the newsroom at 9 here in Adelaide said, "Oh yeah, you know their song. Play that one." No. Or that one? No. That one? No. I'm above 40.
You don't strike me as someone that engages in popular culture much anyway.
No, I do. I still think Foo Fighters are top of mind.
Foo Fighters.
Times like these has just been released. That's how I'm moving in the time warp.
Yeah, that's exactly where I'd place you.
Oh,
Red Hot Chili Peppers, yep, love them too. Nirvana, pretty good as well.
About 20 years ago. You're about 20 years late.
You have a career doing music programming at Triple M, Tredders. You've just pretty much named our entire lineup. Well played. Let's get on to the social club. We highlight terrific pieces of social media. And this is a kangaroo with nothing to do with Ree Shaw, North Melbourne or Blue and White. But this kangaroo was able to pick who the Premier might be.
With the battle for the premiership down to 4, the iconic cup nestled in nicely on the foreshore of Queensland's Cape Hillsborough this morning, and it seemed everyone was keen for a close-up look. But these kangaroos, unlike the AFL variety, were about to have a big say who'll end up premiers. Just as Paul the Octopus gained global notoriety with his tipping prowess during soccer's World Cup back in 2010, this kangaroo was looking to do likewise. And it wasn't long before he let the cat out of the bag.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, it looks like the winner for this year is Geelong.
There you go, Geelong premiers, according to the kangaroo.
Yeah. Hang on. The one we got sent in Adelaide said Port Adelaide won. That kangaroo's a freaking fraud.
Are you saying the kangaroo man put different scent on the jumper?
Oh, they did four records, mate. That's what they did. They picked a Richmond one, a Geelong one for down in Geelong, in the Surf Coast.
Mate,
there was a West Coast. There was a West Coast one bloody recorded, but it didn't make it through to the prelim.
I would just like to put on the record for the kangaroo.
Dodgy kangaroo, I reckon.
I am no way part of this. I am not saying that there was any dodgy dealings done with the kangaroo. I'm not bringing the kangaroo into disrepute. I think it was all fair.
I just like that we've done 20 minutes of high-class footy chat, but questioning the integrity of the kangaroo selection is going to be the headline out of this program. So, magnificent. Now, Tredders, you're a Port Adelaide great. A fortnight away from another premiership for the Cabinet potentially. I just want to gauge your personal nerve levels from 1 to 100 before we go.
I'm just taking it 1 week at a time. Don't talk about grand finals. We'll win this week.
The Port Adelaide Premiership champion has said goodbye to the...
Did he actually go?
He's gone. He's out. He's out. Yeah. The leading senior football reporter, chief football reporter, in fact, for the 9 week. Thank you, Sam McClure.
Seb, it's always been great. In fact, I'm not sure we need Tredders. This could be the show.
This is the new pitch for 2021. You've been watching Talk of the Town.